Hey everybody, welcome back to Fandom Sage Powers, where we discuss comics, comic heroes, and a little of this, a little of that. This is part 7 of my X of Swords review. Let's get into it. We open in Krakoa, and we see Magic is sitting here enjoying the sunset. She is the first champion that placed her sword on the sigil and is waiting for everyone else to get on board. Get ready. And for context, this is before Wolverine and Storm return from their mission. So this whole story is taking place over the course of 3 days, obviously, since they only have 3 days to get their swords and get the sword bearers to the sigil. So at this time, everybody's out doing their thing. She activates a device to get in contact with Cyclops and Cable. When Cyclops appears, he says, "Captain," and she says, "Captain." He tells her that he's kind of in the middle of something right now. Is this something that could wait? She says, "I'm not actually calling for you, boss. This one's for Cable. And the news is not great. You need to get back to Krakoa now and bring that sword you got from Shinjuku." Cable says, "It's called the Light of Galador, Ilyana. It's from space. No one cares what it's called or where you got it. Just that we have to go to Otherworld and fight for Krakoa." Cyclops says, "So it's that bad?" Ilyana says, "Well, you know me, I'm up for it, but someone's going to lose some sleep over this, no doubt. Is there a time frame? Minutes, hours, days, something like that?" Cyclops says, "All right, we'll be back as quickly as possible." Ilyana asks, "Maybe we'll make some plans?" Cyclops says, "Never know. It could always rain." Ilyana pauses and then says, "Understood." We then jump over to Cypher, who's freaking out a little bit. He's sitting speaking with Warlock, who is his Technarch best friend. And those of you who don't know, Technarchs are a techno-organic alien species that in some ways kind of similar to the Borg, where they consume matter and transform it into machine matter. Warlock is different from other Technarchs in that he shows emotion. He is actually considered a mutant of his species as well. And he has been friends with Doug for a very long time, and he protects him. You know, they're pretty much inseparable. Cypher says, "I'm gonna die." Warlock says, "Doug friend, self is not afraid for self, but self senses Doug friend worries." Cypher says, "I feel like I'm not pulling my weight. This tournament, it hasn't even begun yet. Everyone else is out questing for their swords, and mine is, well, you. Which I suppose we're not keeping a secret anymore. Not that we were doing a good job of hiding it, but this feels like there's something deeper at play, some Saturnine stratagem. I mean, why me? Why you?" Warlock says, "This is fine, self-friend. More time for preparation. Maybe Saturnine understands that it is needed. Doug friend and Self will work together. Self will be your best sword. Self will make sure that no harm comes to Doug friend." As Warlock transforms into his sword, Doug says, "I will say you do make a great sword." As Doug tries practicing with his sword, he's struggling a bit. He's saying that, the sword is heavy, but he's still trying and swinging at trees. Krakoa looks at him like he's done lost his mind. He says, "Right, good point. On one hand, chopping up trees is good practice. On the other, why would I do that to a friend?" Suddenly, Doug hears a voice from behind him saying, "That's a question I ask myself all the time." Magic is here watching him. She says the first lesson is make sure you bring a sword to a sword fight. He tells her he's got that covered. And she says second lesson, raise it up. And she begins to attack him. He's struggling against her. He's slashing down trees. Krakoa is pissed. He tells her to take it easy and watch out for the trees. And Ilyana screams no. She continues to fight him. They are training for a little while, but Cypher is getting his ass kicked. I'm not going to front. As Ilyana sits on him, she says, "So, 10 swords wielded by the champions of Krakoa fighting for Otherworld to try and prevent them from invading Earth. And the trick is, if you lose, if you die, then because it happens there, you die for real. You do get that, right?" Cypher says, Yeah, so I hear that and all I think is, sign me up. What do you hear, Dougie?" We don't get to hear his answer. We flash over to later in the Quiet Council's chamber. Doug is talking to Krakoa. Magneto and Charles are there and not understanding the course of the conversation, or at least one side of it. Charles interrupts and says, "Excuse me, if Krakoa has something that needs to be shared, we'd love to hear the problem." Krakoa is continually saying something to him, and Cypher says no. Cypher tells him if this plan of Sinister's having the Hellions steal the swords from Morocco and putting an end to this tournament before it starts, what if it doesn't work? Charles tells him there's a lot about the tournament that they still don't know, but if there's a path that leads us away from putting the lives of my children at risk, then at least something should be explored. Is that what you and Krakoa were arguing about? If Krakoa has concerns, then we owe it to the island to hear them. Krakoa wants me to present the idea before the council of someone else going to the battle in my place. Krakoa's voice needs to always be heard. We are guests here and should do everything in our power to respect that, says Charles. And that's what Krakoa is worried about. Without me, Krakoa will have no voice. But the rules have been set. I was chosen. And knowing what we know about the resurrection process, how it's broken, I wouldn't want to put any other mutant in that position. I need to show everyone that I'm not just a translator. I want to go to prove myself. Charles tells him that he understands the desire and he would rather that none of his children put their lives on the line. Let's just hope that Sinister is successful in ending this before it starts. Later on, Magic and Cypher are continuing to train, and she's going really, really hard on him, but he seems like he's getting better. He gives her a smile, and Magic tells him, "Don't smile at me. You are clumsy. Your stance is a disgrace. Your balance is worse. Have you not been practicing?" He says, "Ha, I have been practicing, see? Not too bad, right?" And her reply is a punch to the face. "Not too bad? Is that what you're asking me, huh?" As Magic takes a threatening stance over Cypher, Krakoa snares her and encoils her with vines. She tells Krakoa, "Unhand me, Krakoa. Cypher, tell the island to let me go. It is not helping you by interfering. It will not be there to help you and coddle you in battle." Cypher tells Krakoa to let her go. She says she supposes that's enough for today. You do know that I'm just trying to keep you alive, right? Cypher says, "You have a funny way of showing it. Seriously, stop hitting me in the face. That's my moneymaker." Magic says, "I'd be more worried about your face if I was preparing you for a wedding and not a funeral. But we're not, are we?" Cypher says, "I really wasn't doing that bad. These are Apocalypse's children," Magic starts, "and maybe worse. Warriors who could wield a blade before they spoke their first words. They have lived in nothing but war and violence and death for thousands of years in that dark place. They almost killed Apocalypse while barely breaking a sweat, defeated him more easily than we've ever been able. Not bad is not nearly good enough." As she turns and walks away, she stops and looks back saying, "When the fighting starts, stay close to me. I'll do what I can." Magic departs. Cypher says to Warlock, "She thinks I don't know the stakes, that I don't see how everyone looks at me, pity in their eyes, like I don't stand a chance. Still, I'm willing to put my life on the line to save others. That matters, right?" It does. A voice comes from the woods behind him, and Exodus appears. "But I tell you, truly, no one will sing songs about it. No one will tell your story, for it won't be worth telling. Your skill is in language, not battle. At the quiet council meeting, Krakoa, it was begging you not to go, begging you to find a replacement another way." Cypher says, "Were you reading my mind? You know you're not supposed to." "I will do as I please," says Exodus. "Yeah, well, it's not Krakoa's choice to make. I'm going," says Cypher. Exodus, using his telekinesis, lifts Cypher off the ground and pulls him towards him like Darth Vader and chokes the crap out of him. And he tells him there may be a loophole in case Sinister's plan fails. When Sinister's plan fails, if you were no more, given that resurrections cannot be carried out for some time, the council would have no choice but to offer up an alternate. Me, perhaps. Cypher says, "That's certainly a plan, but not the direction I would go. Respectful." As much as I like Exodus, I tend to forget that he technically is a bad guy, even though he has a set of kind of moral rules that he flies by. He will still default to violence to do what he thinks is right, even against kids. So yeah, this kind of reminded me. But before he can do anything else, Warlock springs into action, and Exodus tells him, "Do you think that you would be a match for me, Warlock? That you would stand a chance?" Warlock says, "Self may not be, but Self plus Krakoa are. Let Doug Friend go now." Annoyed, Exodus just drops Cypher and says, "Fine. You have already stated that you are not up to the task. This is merely a small sacrifice for the greater good. If you want to save mutant lives, this is the only way. Consider it. And Exodus leaves through the woods. Later, Cypher is in his room lounging when there's a voice from his door. He says, Mondo? Mondo says, make it stop. And he says, make what stop? As he walks in, you can see that Mondo, who is a mutant that can absorb organic materials and fibers and kind of take on the properties of those things. So like he can be earth and brick and whatever he touches, it's kind of like metamorpho in a way. So he says, Krakoa won't leave me alone. You're ignoring it and is trying to use me to talk to you. And suddenly Mondo goes mute and this face appears on his stomach and it's Krakoa. Krakoa says, Exodus was right. There must be a way to send another in your place. Krakoa goes on to say that he isn't too important to the continuance of this relationship with mutant kind. And as such, you cannot leave. You don't have to die. I can hide you, put you into exile until this is over. It won't be pleasant, but you will be safe. Cypher tells Krakoa, I have to go. I cannot run. I cannot hide. It's chosen, and it's just as likely that if I don't go, Saturnyne will not accept a replacement, that our side will be instead short one sword and one contestant. Even if it were a possibility, I can't send another to die in my place. I wouldn't be able to live with the guilt. I know you're afraid for me. I know you're worried, but I have to go and you have to let me go. I have to do this. Cypher continues to train with magic, and she says, better. I'm impressed. We might make a warrior out of you yet. The way you move, Cypher says, every little twitch and tick is a language in its own right. Less talk, you need to focus, says Magic. After all this practice, I can read your movements like a book, Magic. Good. Anticipate and react then. And what your movements are telling me is, you're holding back. Why? Magic says, you really have gotten better. I'm proud of you. So you think I have a chance, says Cypher. Magic says, do you want the truth? Always, of course. We're family, Doug. We always have been. So believe me when I tell you this. If you raise your sword to fight someone in other world, it will be the last thing you ever do. And there's not a damn thing you can do to stop it. And that's 4 out of 10 sword bearers down. Now, I do feel what Exodus was getting at, and I mean, even Cypher to some degree, he's not a fighter. That's really not his gift, but he was chosen for this ceremony, this tournament. I understand why he doesn't feel like backing out is a great idea. So him using body language, he has done that before in the past, and he has mentioned that a body has its own language and the way it moves, and he can actually tell imposters that don't have the same walk. He could even tell a shapeshifter, unlike some other people, because he is so in tune with nuances of the movements of people. So there is some possibility, some potential for him in physical combat type of capabilities, but it's really not his strength. So I would be worried too. What do you think? Do you think that Cypher should have sat this one out? Do you think that he's going to be okay? Do you think that he should have take a little piece of Krakoa with him? So he have like 2. He's good for getting a little hybrid partner. You know, he got Warlock, now he got Krakoa and Warlock, so maybe he should take both of them. I don't know. But out of the 4 we have so far right now, do you put money on Cypher? You think that he could come out good on the other side? Matter of fact, who would you bet on, just period across the board, that's going to come out victorious and win for the side of Krakoa? This is something I'll probably ask for the rest of the videos, just to see where your head's at. In the comments below, put down the odds of the sword bearers' chances at victory. What do you think? Like, you know, 1 in 100, 1 in 10? Yeah, I think that'll be kind of fun. So we will see you in the next video. Thanks for all the support, and see you next time.